Hello everyone. Today in this session we will be discussing about a problem on simplex method. Right now the problem which I have taken, this problem is of maximization problem wherein all the constraints they are of less than equal to. Fine. So see, one thing is when we start doing simplex, we have to convert this LPP into the standard form, which is the first step of you can say the simplex method. As in you can see that in this over here we have less than equal to, so that means that the left hand side is less than right hand side. Fine. And if we have to make this left hand side equal to the right hand side, we should add something on the left side so that it becomes equal to the right side, and the variable which we add on the left hand side, that is known as the slack variable. I'll show you how to rewrite it. 3x1 plus 5x2 plus 2x3 plus s1 is equal to 60. Right. So what does s1 stands for? This stands for slack variable. Right. I have added slack variable on the left hand side so that it becomes equal to the right hand side. So, or you can say that this is a kind of a dummy variable which we are adding into the constraints. The dummy variables, they are added to solve the problem, but if we talk about the objectives of the organization, the profits, the sales, the cost, they don't have any contribution towards those objective functions. Fine. Similarly, we will write the second constraint as like this, and we'll write the third constraint like this. Right. So we have added 3 slack variables. The contribution to the objective function for these slack variables is 0. So this can be written as 0x1, 0s2 plus 0s3. Fine. And at the last we can write down x1, x2, x3, s1, s2, s3. They all are greater than equal to 0. Right. So now this is my standard LPP from which I will be creating the tables, and with the help of that I will be solving it using simplex method. Fine. So for that, first of all we will see that we'll draw the table, and for drawing the table let's have first of all the columns with the variables. I have x1, x2, x3, and I have s1, s2, s3. These are the 6 variables in the question. Fine. And on this side I am writing as b. What is b? The right hand side values of the equation. Fine. Now take the first equation. What is the coefficient of x1 here? I'll write down 3. Coefficient of x2 5. Coefficient of x3 2. Coefficient of s1 is 1. And in the first equation I don't have s2, I don't have s3, so I have written 0 here. And what is the right hand side value? It is 60. Fine. Then I go with the second equation. In the second equation the coefficient of x1 is 4. The coefficient of x2 is again 4. The coefficient of x3 is 4. Right. And there is no s1 here, so this is 0. S2 is 1, S3 is again 0, and the right hand side value is 72. Similarly, in the third equation I have this, so I can rewrite as 2, 4, 5, 0, 0, 1, and the right hand side value is 100. Alright. Now the next thing we will be writing here is Cj value. Now what is Cj? Cj stands for these coefficients in the objective function. These are your Cj's. That is, coefficient of x1 is 5, coefficient of x2 is 10, x3 is 8, this is 0, this is 0, this is 0. Alright. So these are the coefficients, and I will have one more column which stands for basic variable. Basic variable. Basic variable as in this column you will write down those variables in which an identity matrix is getting formed. And you can see that the identity matrix is between what? It is between S1, S2, S3. what is identity matrix? The matrix in which all the diagonal elements are 1 and the remaining elements are 1, right? So that is what is identity matrix. The matrix in which diagonal elements are 1 and the remaining are 0, that is known as identity matrix. So in the basic variable column, I will write those variables in which identity matrix is getting formed. And over here, this is the last column, that is Cj. Now this Cj will be the coefficients of these variables in the objective function. What is the coefficient of S1, S2, S3 in the objective function? It is 0, 0 and 0, right? So this is the completion of your table entry. Fine. Now the next thing which we will be doing is we will be calculating Zj. Now what do you mean by Zj? Zj is going to be, you will be multiplying this column, multiply this column by every column and add it. For example, 0 into 3 plus 0 into 4 plus 0 into 2, that is 0. Then 0 into 5 plus 0 into 4 plus 0 into 4, it is again 0. This is also 0 because I am multiplying it by 0 and I am adding it, right? So that is 0 into 3 plus 0 into 4 plus 0 into 2, this is 0, and 0 into 5 plus 0 into 4 plus 0 into 4, everything is coming out to be 0 because I am multiplying it by 0 itself. Alright. Now next thing is we will be calculating Cj minus Zj. Now Cj, this is your Cj and this is your Zj, so you will be subtracting it. 5 minus 0, this is 5, 10 minus 0, 10, 8 minus 0, 8, this is 0, this is 0, this is 0. Alright, now since we are solving the problem of maximization, fine, so I will be taking maximum Cj minus Zj, right? So the maximum Cj minus Zj, alright, then this is maximum value, so this is going to be my key column. Fine, and for this key column I will be finding out minimum ratio, and minimum ratio will be calculated by dividing this right hand side value by the key column value, that is it will be 60 by 5, this is going to be 72 by 4, and this is going to be 100 by 4. This is 25, this is 12, and this is 418, right? So now you can see out of all these three values, which one is the minimum value? This is the minimum value. So this is going to be my key row. Alright. Now the intersection of key row and key column, intersection of the key row and key column in the table, this is 5. This is going to be your key element, right? This is your key element. Fine. Now another thing which you people have to note here is that the variable of key row, that is S1, this is going to leave the table. Alright. And the variable of key column x2 is going to come in the place of S1. I repeat that the variable of key column will enter the table and the variable of key row, it is going to leave the table. So that means that my second table, when I write basic variable column S1, in place of S1 I will have x2. In place of S1 I will have x2, then S2, then S3. Alright. So this is how it is going to be. S1 is replaced by x2 in the second table. Alright. This is one thing which you people have to note down. Now again I will make the columns x1, x2, x3, s1, s2, s3. Alright. These are the columns. Now the first thing which we will be doing is we will be calculating the values of key row. This is your key row. Alright. Now for this key row I will be calculating the values of this by dividing the key row by you can say a key element, that is divide key row by key element. Alright, so that is 60 by 5, 60 by 5, 3 by 5, 5 by 5, this is 2 by 5, this is 1 by 5, this is 5 and this is 5. So this is going to be 12, 3 by 5, 1, 2 by 5, 1 by 5, this is 0, this is 0. Alright, so I have written the values of the key row now. Now we have to find out the values of S2 and S3. Right, I have to find out the values of S2 and S3. Let's calculate first of all for S2. Now write down old values S2. Old values of S2 were 72, 4, 4, 4, 0, 1, 0. If I show you here, this is the old value 72, 4, 4, 4, 0, 1, 0. I have written here. I'll put a minus sign. Then I'll open a bracket. Alright. Now the next thing which we have to do, since we are calculating the values of S2, this is the key element. The corresponding element in S2 is 4. Right. So I'll write here 4. What is it? This is 4. Then I'll put a multiply sign by the new values of the key row. These were the new values of the key row. So that is going to be 12, 3 by 5, 1, 2 by 5, 1 by 5, 0, 0. Alright. So when I'll calculate this is going to be 24, this is going to be 8 by 5, this is going to be 0, this is going to be 12 by 5, this is going to be minus 4 by 5, this is going to be 1 and this is going to be 0. So I'll write down them in the table. 24, 8 by 5, 0, 12 by 5, minus 4 by 5, this is going to be 1 and this is going to be 0. Now similarly I will be calculating the new values of S3 also. For S3 it will be write down the old values, same procedure. First of all write down the old values of S3, then put a minus sign, open a bracket, and now in S3 corresponding to the key element, what is the value? 4. So I'll write down 4 into again the new values of key row, that is 12, 3 by 5, 1, 2 by 5, then 1 by 5, this is 0, this is 0. Guys, please remember, when you are looking for the corresponding element, you have to look the corresponding element for the row in which you are calculating the value. For example, when I was calculating the value of S2, so I took the corresponding element in S2. Now when I am calculating S3, so I will be taking the corresponding element in S3, right? My students, they generally get confused in this, and this is for them. Alright, now when I will solve this, I will get the values of S3 as 52, minus 2 by 5, 0, 17 by 5, then minus 4 by 5, this is going to be 0, this is going to be 1. Alright, now these are my values. Again I will be writing down Cj values, that is the coefficients of these x1, x2 and x3 in objective function. Over here also, what is the coefficient of x2 in objective function? That is 10, and s2, s3 is 0. Now next thing is, again I will be calculating Zj. Zj again 10 into 3 by 5 plus 0 into 8 by 5 plus 0 into minus 2 by 5. So this is going to be 6. This is going to be 10 into 1, 10. 0 plus 0 into 0, 0. 0 into 0, 0. This is going to be 10. This is going to be 4. This is going to be 2. This is going to be 0. And this is going to be 0. Guys, I am doing the calculation directly now because I have explained you that how to calculate Zj by multiplying this Zj column by x1 and adding it. Multiply Cj column by x2, then add it. Multiply Cj by x3 and then add it, and this is what we have to do for all the columns. Now next thing which we will be doing is Cj minus Zj. Say 5 minus 6 is minus 1, this is 0, this is 4, this is minus 2, this is 0 and this is 0. Now again we have to look for the maximum value, right? So this is going to be maximum and the maximum is 4. So this is going to be my key column. And now for this key column I will be finding out minimum ratio. And how to find out the minimum ratio? Divide this column by the key column. 12 by 2 by 5, which is giving me 30. 24 divided by 12 into 5, that is giving me 10. 52 divided by 17 by 5, it is giving me 260 by 70. Right. Now from all the three values, this is the minimum value which is going to be my key row, and the intersection of key row and key column is my key element, and the variable of key column will enter the table and the variable of key row will leave the table. So that means my new table will have x2, x3 and s3. Not s3, sorry. Yes, s3. Alright. Now you will be first calculating the values of the key row by dividing the elements by key element. Alright. And by that, when I will be dividing it, this will become 10, this will become 10, this will become 2 by 3, 0, 1, minus 1 by 3, 5 by 12, then this is going to be 0. I'll write down the columns here. B, this is x1, this is x2, this is x3, this is s1, s2 and s3. Alright. So now this is for the new values of the key row. If you can see here, this is what is I have done. This divided by 12 by 5, 12 by 5, 12 by 5. I divided it. Now the same method again we will be following for x2 and s3. Now these are the other rows. Write down the old values of x2. Old values of x2 are, let me write down here, 12, 3 by 5, 1, 2 by 5, then 1 by 5, 0, 0. Put a minus sign, open a bracket, and now in x2 corresponding element to the key element is 2 by 5, right? So write 2 by 5, this is 2 by 5, multiply by the new values of the key row. Now what were the new values of the key row? This one, right? So that is, I'll write as 10, 2 by 3, 0, 1, minus 1 by 3, 5 by 12 and this is 0, right? So now when you will be calculating these values, this will be 8, 1 by 3, this is 1, this is 0, this is 1 by 3 and this is minus 1 by 6 and this is 0. Now in the same way you will be calculating the values of S3, which will be, I'll be writing it directly now. If you people will have a problem, please do comment in the below the video and I will be happy to help your queries. Fine, I am writing this value directly. Okay, now again the same process will be followed. I will be writing the Cj. What is the coefficient of x2 in objective function? 10. x3 in objective function is 8, s3 is 0, and similarly for x1 it is 5, this is 10, this is 8, this is 0, this is 0 and this is 0. Now next thing I will be doing is, again I will calculate Zj. Again I will be calculating Zj. For that it will be, again it will be 10 into 1 by 3 plus 8 into 2 by 3 plus 0 into minus 8 by 3, which will become, sorry, so this is going to be 26 by 3, this is going to be 10, this is going to be 8, this is going to be 2 by 3, this is going to be 5 by 3 and this is going to be 0. Now again I will be writing Cj minus Zj, which will be minus 11 by 3, 0, 0, minus 2 by 3, this is going to be minus 5 by 3 and this is 0. Guys, Now you can see here that all the Cj minus Zj, they are coming out to be either 0 or negative. This is negative, this is 0, 0, negative, negative, 0. Right? So that means this is the end and we have got our solution. What is my solution? This is my solution. That is x1 is 0, x2 is 8, x3 is 10, and when I'll substitute these values in my objective function, I will get z as 160. Alright, so this is the answer to the question, and this is how we solve the simplex method. Alright, thank you all. If you like my video, then please do subscribe to my channel and share this video as much as possible. Alright, thank you.